You're watching Z420 TV, the business of cannabis.
Smoke the living life, the sticky gets you by. I'm gonna upgrade, got a lot of stuff that keeps me up, sativa keeps me up. Smoke the living life, it keeps the spirits high. I'm gonna upgrade, got a lot of stuff that keeps me up, sativa keeps me up. Roll around a big city with a different plate, said it's illegal to be high, but
Hello and welcome to the Edible Show on Z420 TV. It's Monday at 4 p.m. We're starting on time. I'm Patrick, the edible of Editors Magazine.
What are you?
The editor of Edibles Magazine. And this is Vila Grand, the CEO and creator of Edibles List and Edibles Magazine. She's here with us from the top of the show for the very first time. If we had a celebratory sound effect, we'd be playing it right now. It's pretty cool. We've got a great episode today. Very professional episode, I feel like.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great information lined up. We've got Nurse Heather and Ken Sobel and Tax Defense Partners. Yeah,
Patrick Cox. There's another Patrick here today.
Yeah.
That's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
To meet another Patrick. It's good, and it's good when they're a good guy like Patrick Cox is.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they're not.
Yeah, so we'll have a lot of information today about compliance and taxation, as well as some licensing and medical information.
And Nurse Heather is one of the industry's premier leading experts on the endocannabinoid system. Did I say that right?
Yep, absolutely.
So it's going to be great to talk, and they have a great product called Nature's Nurse that we're going to be talking about later too. Speaking of great products, there's a few in the house today. I am sampling the Delta 9 vape cartridges. These are very serious looking. Richard Ray, who's our office manager, is also sampling the CBD one. He's going to get back to us on that. And Brant, who is the tech director and producer of broadcasting here, is sampling the Grape Ape Indica. So we're going to have kind of a council's information and input on what we think about these. The battery is awesome. It looks super cool. I really like it. There's some more here. We've also got Mount Joy sparkling water. This is 12 milligrams of THC, so I would probably normally need to drink about 10 of these to really get high from them. But if you're into microdosing, they're really tasty. They're actually refreshing if you like sparkling water. Now, if you don't like sparkling water, Maybe
it's not for you.
Right. And you don't like sparkling water.
Sparkling water is not my favorite thing. I didn't grow up with it. I'm not used to it. It's, I don't know. I like ginger ale, but sparkling water is not my thing.
Yeah, I think we need to they're telling us to get closer to our mics. We are right up on them.
Top it. Yeah. So it says what? Mount Joy, refresh, de-stress, motivate. And I mean, what is this, a low dose?
It's 12 milligrams of THC. This is the first product that has been delivered to us explicitly addressed to the Edibles Show. So we wanted to bring it on and enjoy it. I like it. It does. It tastes pretty much like LaCroix. It's got 12 milligrams of THC in it. And you feel it quicker in a drink. Why is that? You know all about these things. What is it about drinking THC that...
You absorb it quicker. There's nothing to break down. So your body doesn't have to break down anything with acids like, a baked edible or a baked good.
And does it pass through less of the body?
It goes straight through you. Liquids go through you faster. I'm sure we can confer with Nurse Heather.
Because now you can watch this video on our website. We made some lemonade using the THC Ed Rosenthal Stardust powder, and it hit harder and longer than anything that I have ever tried since, probably for those very reasons. Also, we've got the Mystery Baking Company today. Peanut butter and strawberry jam. The strawberry jam is brand new. This is something that they just started doing.
Brand new product.
Yeah, so if you wanted to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a peanut butter and jam sandwich, this is exactly the product that you would use for that.
And you could do it with both infused peanut butter and the infused jam, and it would be a very potent sandwich.
Yeah, this is 300 milligrams for 4 ounces. So 1 teaspoon, I believe, is 21 milligrams, something like that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, this would be actually a vegan option if you had a vegan bread.
Right. We've been doing the vegan thing a lot lately. We've been looking for good vegan edibles. There's quite a few out there, but there's nowhere near enough.
Not enough. Definitely not enough out there. There's a few. There's a handful of them. We're still looking for the healthy edibles.
So for top vegan recommendations at this time, B, what would you say?
We've got Moon Man's Mistress. They have a healthy vegan option. There's Betty Chronic. She's also a vegan option. There's also Healthy High edibles.
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah, and then technically Zast is a vegan drink. And it's kind of rough to find vegan. Almost anything that's baked's got milk or eggs.
It's true. It really is.
And then anything chocolate's got residue of milk in it, unless it's completely dark and devoid of milk.
Usually, too. It's really hard to find vegan gummies, but I think you were telling me Infused Edibles does at least
That's right.
one.
They do. Actually, all of their belts are vegan. They're pectin instead of gelatin. And they also have some cashews and nuts and dried fruit.
Yeah, we're going to be covering that line, actually, in the next magazine. Not this coming one, but the one after that. This coming one, awesome stuff. We finally got Montel Williams on the cover. We've been wanting to do that for a long time.
Yep.
You still probably have a little time to get the last of the Jesse Ventura ones from the dispensaries. If you haven't yet, the bottom of the stacks are probably still in some of the shops. It's still online too, but soon it's going to be Montel Williams, and that's a great piece. There's some really great reviews. The Delta 9's going to be in there.
Yep.
This is another one that we got in New York at the Cannabis World Congress. This is 710 hand cleaner. It's totally made out of hemp. And I was packaging a little bit of shatter this last week, some of the Aloha extracts, and it got on my fingers, and this actually worked. It's non-abrasive. It doesn't smell like alcohol. It got the shatter off. It kind of looks chalky and brown, but It feels good. It feels like lotion.
Yeah, and so that would be to remove like trichomes and sticky residue off your fingers from like rolling or packaging.
And it smells good enough. Oh, they're saying right up on the... Are we on the bad mics this time? No.
The mics are not omnidirectional. They're unidirectional. I got to sit on right on top of it. So anyways, we've got some really cool events coming up too. Speaking of Cannabis World Congress Business Expo, there's another one they have coming up in September. That would be the first couple weeks of September. The end of this month, we have the Portland Cannabis Science Conference. That's going on up there. Nurse Heather and Ken are actually speaking up there. We have a booth up there, so you'll be able to come say hi to us in Portland if you're going to be there. And then at the end of September, we've also got NCIA's Anaheim Convention for Cannabis Business Conference. In October, we have our Infused Expo, October 21st. And I think Cannabis World Congress is also doing a Boston Expo early October. And then in November is the big expo, MJ BizCon in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And you could check us out as well. We have a booth there. Come by and say hi if you're going to be there. And that's the biggest and funnest and best event of them all.
Definitely.
Yeah, as far as the Cannabis Business to Business Conference goes, it's the largest, and it definitely brings in a lot of people. So those are a lot of the big events coming up, and then I think that we've got some patient events like the Emerald Cup in December. Mm-hmm. Some other patient events. I think there's the HempCon coming up in Southern California, and I don't know if High Times is happening soon.
Somewhere else that you can see us with our deluxe amazing booth that we're going to have. We want you to come by. If you're going to be at this event, we'll be there. Stop by and say hi. The Los Angeles Comic-Con.
That's right.
It's going to be so much fun. We're the first cannabis company to have a full booth at an official Comic-Con. It almost happened by accident, but we're really excited to be there. That's going to be, because we kind of had a booth last year under a different banner, and we got invited back this time, so we'll have an Edibles List panel, Edibles List booth. We'll be in cosplay. It's going to be great. That's Halloween weekend. Then at the end of this month, now if you like that song that led us in, Ron E. Polo is the artist, and he and our friend Freddie Simmons and us are all going to be in Las Vegas for the Canna Barbecue, August 26th, for the fight, for the boxing match. It's a cannabis
Mayweather
party around a boxing match. Yeah. Mayweather, McGregor.
Should be fun.
Yeah, it should be a good time. It's from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. I'm super excited about that because that's the 12-hour party. And there's a lot going on. Ron's going to perform. Ron opened up for B and her band at the event that we did. What's the name of that bar? The Federal?
Yeah, we played a show at the Federal Bar to celebrate our 4th anniversary for the magazine.
Oh, it was so much fun. And we got to see, we'd only heard Ron's samples on YouTube and in a file that he sent in an email. So seeing him perform was an outstanding good time. Vegas, that's going to be great.
Yeah, that's exciting.
The producer said, do you guys, do you know any hip-hop artists? And I was like, I just met one outside of our apartment at a barbecue.
And so we played a show.
Well, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to have Nurse Heather and Ken Sobel talking about a lot of things, Nature's Nurse, cannabinoid systems, all of that. So please stay tuned. You're watching The Edibles Show on Z420 TV and on the Edibles Facebook page right now.
When people are feeling their best, they glow, they shine, and they radiate. Made in California, Daisy Hemp Skincare was one of the first companies to recognize the unique and powerful benefits of hemp seed oil when used on the skin. For years, they've been making quality, all-natural, vegan skincare products, and they're never tested on animals. The complete range utilizes the complementary effects of hemp seed oil, Dead Sea salt, turmeric, and green tea. Each of these ingredients has powerful healing properties alone, but when combined, they work magic. I'm Tanya Watts for Z420 TV. Check out Daisy Hemp online at daisyhemp.com, and thanks for watching.
You're watching Z420 TV. We take the high road.
Hi, I'm Eric Roberts, and this is What Are You Smoking? In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a bunch of 20-year-old kids called the police after robbed at gunpoint in their own home. Well, instead of getting help from the police after the terrifying robbery, they're all carted off to jail for possession of marijuana. You see, when police answered the robbery call, they noticed a pipe sitting out on the table. They go back to the station. They get a warrant, and they return to search the home where they found more drug paraphernalia, hash, and about a pound of pot. So let me get this straight. You get robbed, you call the police, they come to your house, and you couldn't be bothered to put your pipe in a drawer or something before you answer the door. If it's not legal in your state, guys, you can't do it. Simple as that. Tyler, Rodney, Devin, Courtney, Kylie, what are you smoking? It's not working.
Hey, welcome back to the Edibles Show on Z420 TV. I'm Patrick, the editor of Edibles Magazine. My lovely co-host, B. LeGrand, CEO and creator of Edibles List and Edibles Magazine. And today we've got Nurse Heather The Cannabis Nurse Heather and Ken Sobel from Nature's Nurse. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us. This is fun. I'm loving it. This is such a great set, and you guys have so much good energy. And I want to thank you guys too for providing the VIP passes to the Emerald Exchange this past weekend. To Ken and I, we had a really great time.
How was it?
We got to meet some wonderful people from the industry, old and new, and Tommy Chong was there.
Yes.
So got a chance to say what's up.
Oh, nice.
As they say, the mountain men coming down from the hills, but it's kind of advanced since then.
Oh, it was great. The branding was off the hook. I couldn't believe what California is doing with their branding. And, I had been prefaced, this was my first time coming to that event. And so I'd been prefaced that it was, the OGs coming out of the mountains to really share their wares. And so I thought, okay, well, this is going to be cool. Maybe some Ziploc baggies and things. But wow, the branding was so amazing. And I was really impressed. And the spirit was still there. And the craft cannabis was alive and well. So thank you again.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so glad you guys. We couldn't go, so somebody. I'm so glad
I'm happy
somebody
to take your place.
Does anybody want to try one of these Mountain Joy sparkling waters? It's 12 milligrams of THC.
12 milligrams.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's
I might take a
pretty
couple
low
of
dose.
sips of yours. Can I
Oh, for
taste
sure.
it?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
And I'm Nurse Heather's driver for today, so since I need to get her safely back to Pacific Beach, I'll let her do the samples.
That's
every day.
Yeah, that's good to play
I
it
prefer
safe.
you to drive me around.
I usually go ahead and indulge because I live underneath the studio.
Hey, not a bad place to be.
When I need to go home, I just crawl there. No matter.
De-stress. Yeah, that's actually tastes
Do you
really
like
nice. It is.
And so maybe you can tell us why the liquids go through you so much faster and hit you harder or quicker.
Well, and that's why it would hit you quicker because, water goes through you. So if you drink, like me, for instance, when I drink green tea, I feel that I'm needing to go to the bathroom pretty quickly afterward because it just goes right through you. It's the same sort of idea. The reason why it's getting you is not just the fact that it's going through your whole digestive system or your through your kidneys and being absorbed into your body that way, but it's also because it's sublingual. You're actually absorbing it right away into your oral mucosa of your mouth. So that's one of the reasons why it hits you pretty quick. And it's the same thing. I heard you guys talking about vegan options.
Yeah.
And you were talking about chocolate, and you said usually has some kind of a milk product unless it's a pure cacao. And that's what our company does.
Yes.
We do the pure cocoa cannabinoids, and we do fair trade sourcing of all of our cocoa beans from Brazil and Peru, and then they're just stoned ground, and in the old Colombian way, these are really produced in the authentic manner that cacao would be produced, and then nothing but a little bit of sugar to make it a 72% healthy cacao that's tasty and delicious.
Wow.
And we have a THC and a CBD option, and 2.5 milligrams per cube. So it goes into the microdosing that you were talking about, because that's very beneficial for the endocannabinoid system when you microdose with cannabinoids.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a superfood, and so this cacao is represents about 13% of the market, and it's got its own cannabinoid profile. So in combination with the cacao and the either THC or CBD, because we make both,
Right.
and that allows a patient to titrate, so they can take 3 small units of CBD cubes and 1 small unit of THC, which works really well for folks who have movement disorders, for example.
Now, I feel like there's a chance that someone out there is watching this and they're saying the endocannabinoid system. What is that? Do I have one? What does that do? What can you tell us exactly, like in the easiest and simplest of terms? What is the endocannabinoid system?
So I am a registered nurse, and there is science behind a system that I actually wasn't taught about when I went through nursing school. And most doctors and nurses still today, I think the statistic is only 13% of medical schools even mention the endocannabinoid system. And so this is the system. It's a receptor signaling system within our body, the largest receptor signaling system. And it's responsible for homeostasis, which is a big word that means balance, because we have all of these other systems in our body and they work together. But I never, even as a nurse, understood how did all of these systems keep in balance and alignment, and what was causing disease if they weren't in balance and alignment, right? And so what we're learning is that the endocannabinoid system is the balancing center between all of the other systems in our body, and that by addressing this system, we're able to really get to the root, so to speak, of the issues and start creating homeostasis at that level, and then going out to the other systems to create balance and lack of disease. And so that's the exciting part about the endocannabinoid system, is that cannabis itself actually brought us to the knowledge of this system within our bodies medically and scientifically. We have cannabis to thank for that. But what we're also learning too is it's not just cannabis that supports and encourages the health of our endocannabinoid systems. We are finding that acupuncture is supporting and stimulating the endocannabinoid system. That aromatherapy, the terpenes and other plants that can be used to stimulate the receptors in our brain that cannabinoids and endocannabinoids would normally stimulate.
Right.
So we're able to use all of these other ways of healing that we normally thought of as maybe, new age or voodoo or whatever, that now we're really looking at, no, it's been working on this endocannabinoid system. And we didn't know that until now. So it is exciting to be able to talk about that. And the other thing about microdosing, one more thing.
Right.
When we constantly provide THC to our systems, it keeps these receptors that I was talking about, the CB1 and CB2 receptors, keeps these receptors full, right? And so the body itself, because it's an on-demand system, it produces endocannabinoids as you need it. If you always have these receptors full, then then your body goes, hey, cool, I don't have to do anything. So it's a good idea to use the microdosing technique to really remind the system that it needs to be working if you're in a deficient state, or to just support it or stimulate it for little bits of time. Because what really feels good and the best are these endocannabinoids that we're producing ourselves. That's what creates that balanced feeling, that homeostatic or groovy space. It's not always being, high or intoxicated or euphoric or in bliss. It's the endocannabinoids. So microdosing can help you get back to that balanced state. Was that TMI?
No,
it's
that's awesome.
And when we talk about cannabinoids, we're like CBD, THC, THCA would be examples of those.
So cannabinoids are the exogenous forms of the molecules. So exogenous comes from outside of the body. That would
be the exocannabinoids if they called them that?
Exactly. So that would be the cannabinoids you would find from hemp or these medical cannabis products, THC, CBD, CBN. The list goes on, and we're still learning more and more about them.
Right.
We're still discovering more. So it's very cool, the cannabinoids. But again, we have endocannabinoids that we produce naturally, and one of them is actually anandamide. And ananda is the Sanskrit word for bliss. And so it's really a bliss molecule that we cruise around producing naturally all the time. And when we get out of sync or out of balance, we find specifically with PTSD that when your system is shook in such a way, or shocked or traumatized, that you can become deficient in these endocannabinoids. And so we're looking at it clinically as an endocannabinoid deficiency, utilizing cannabinoids as a supplement for this deficiency.
And then, so in what other events, you've got Portland that you're speaking at, what other events are you speaking at coming up?
We want to invite everybody out to Las Vegas the first weekend of October. The Cannabis Nurses Network, it's at cnnc2017.com. Come check us out. We're going to have the nurses there. We're at UNLV. We've got sports athletes coming. It's going to be a great time, and we have the Cannabis Nurses Magazine Awards show that goes on that Saturday. So want all of your viewers to come and check it out, and invite you as well to come and enjoy Vegas with us the first week of October. It's my birthday too, so come play for my birthday.
We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're still going to be talking to Ken and Nurse Heather and focusing a little more on some really interesting projects that Ken has been doing in more of the business world. So keep watching The Edible Show on Z420 TV.
I like to sing, dance, pretend, and I like to have fun.
Someone was suspected of being responsible, but it was all hushed up.
When people are feeling their best, they glow, they shine, and they radiate. Made in California, Daisy Hemp Skincare was one of the first companies to recognize the unique and powerful benefits of hemp seed oil when used on the skin. For years, they've been making quality, all-natural, vegan skincare products, and they're never tested on animals. The complete range utilizes the complementary effects of hemp seed oil, Dead Sea salt, turmeric, and green tea. Each of these ingredients has powerful healing properties alone, but when combined, they work magic. I'm Tanya Watts for Z420 TV. Check out Daisy Hemp online at daisyhemp.com, and thanks for watching.
You are watching Z420 TV, the future of cannabis broadcasting.
Welcome back to The Edible Show on Z420 TV. I'm Patrick. With me, as always, is B. And today we're talking to Nurse Heather and Ken Sobel. This is the... now, we kind of had a heavy focus on Nurse Heather and the products, Nature's Nurse, last segment. And now, Ken, what are you... You've been talking about some very interesting, exciting things. What's going on?
What can you disclose?
Yeah, what are you able to say on the air, I guess, is
I
the...
don't know, man. I'm a Californian through and through. You know, as I think most of the people seated around the table, Nurse Heather may have come here more recently, but, amazing things are happening in the Golden State, and the greenest state, of course, and of all 50 here, and that is the new commercialization, regulation, and safety acts that have been produced both by the legislature, signed by the governor, or by the voters, and then merged together by the legislature and the governor, which we now refer to, it's a mouthful, the Medical and Adult Use Regulation and Safety Act. And that's
MARSA.
It basically...
What's the acronym now?
I don't think you can say it. I've been trying to come up with something, but maybe the MAU-CRSA will just have to do for now. But
Yeah, because they combined Alma with MRSA and then put it all together, so it's MARSA.
Yeah, but these beautiful listeners and viewers, they don't need to go into those kinds of details. But I've been practicing as a lawyer for 37 years, and
Wow.
Both California and Arizona, and I essentially started the regulated program in Arizona. So I have a pretty different, perhaps more complete take on how these things develop. So, we're working with who've been in the industry or would like to get in the industry on how to meet all the demands of this new regulatory system that goes into place on January 1st of 2018. And it's a challenge, but it's increasingly accelerating to the point where really all eyes are on California.
So what are the biggest challenges that you face with this, or that come up most often?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is really the one that occurs when you go to a regulated system and you have the scarcity of licensing. So it's kind of like, even alcohol licenses are pretty scarce, and
Right.
in the resale market for alcohol licenses, they can be $500,000, $1 million or more, and that's what you're seeing in cannabis. Only it's on steroids. Pardon the but it's basically driving out some of the folks who've been in the industry and have had to operate during Prohibition and having to risk their liberty.
Right.
And a lot of newer players are coming out because they've made money in other industries, particularly in Silicon Valley, for example, and they're investing in it because it's now safe for them to do so.
Yeah.
Right now they have state
So-
protection.
So most people are coming to me to help them continue to do what they're doing or to get started in what they're doing. And so that's what I've been doing. All types of licenses. There are about 19 licenses under the new act. It ranges from all the core industry, the cultivation, the most important perhaps, manufacturing with the beautiful things that you do, with the products that you work with and distribute, and at the dispensary level or retail level, plus everything in between, distributorship, transportation, laboratories, and everything else. So I'm trying to help people who want to stay in the industry find a method they can do that.
Right.
But more often than not, I'm just overwhelmed with the number of people that are chasing this very scarce resource. And
Yeah.
it's very complicated because we're coming from the fog of Prohibition, and that's really only happened once when you think about it, when we had alcohol prohibition,
Yeah.
which was a disaster. But of course, we continue to do things over and over and continue to get them wrong. But now that the fog of Prohibition is lifted, cannabis is such an amazing, beautiful plant that will solve in a palliative or therapeutic way about 98.5% of all
Here, here.
health conditions. And so the paradigm shift we're experiencing now is going into a regulated market with a 30-fold increase beginning January 1st. Think about that. 2.6% of Californians have a medical recommendation. January 1st, all of those 21 and older who can show an ID card, it's a 30-fold increase. The next paradigm shift will occur when the fog of Prohibition lifts and everybody realizes it's the most important and safest nutritional supplement that's in your medicine chest, that you wouldn't want your son or daughter to play tackle football or a contact sport without juicing non-psychoactive juice because of the neuroprotectants that are all identified in the U.S. patent. So it's an amazing plant, an amazing industry to be involved in, and I'm just trying to help people get started.
And that statistic of Californians that are like medical holders, that's the state, the public Department of Health that very few people actually register for,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's not even a real statistic.
Well, it actually is the recommendations that they attempt to, and there's varying numbers.
Yeah, 'cause there's-
but that's about the highest number, so to speak.
Because we
That's
don't
it.
actually have like a searchable state
No, we don't.
database of who actually really has Rex, and if we did, it would be tens of millions.
Yeah, these are kind of abstract studies that have been done that are probably not all that accurate. So, but I use it just to highlight the fact that we're going from a market that can be a
Yeah.
30-fold increase.
Oh yeah.
Overnight.
It's
And with some of these regulations, we'll be able to have some of the statistics maybe be more accurate
Right,
because then we
exactly.
have sales
Yeah.
and that sort of thing that are being, tracked.
How do you
Right.
guys
Versus-
think
'cause
that
we know the number's
regulations are going to change with taxes? I mean, how much of an influx do you think it's going to make on the product price?
We're definitely going to see an adjustment upward on product pricing, and that'll be a fairly temporary, maybe 3 to 5 maximum, 3 to 5 years, where the cycle will generally be sort of up before it levels off, and then you're going to see a substantial decrease in prices as all of the top tiers, because we know that, for example, they allow certain sizes through their licensing program for cultivation. When they get to 2023, they'll be allowing even a bigger, almost unlimited size for some of these grows. So eventually the
Wow.
prices will come down, as it should be, and still everybody who's involved in the industry will be making money. I mean, it's not. This is because it's so profound for the medical industry. It will change healthcare as we know it. We already know that it helps people get off opiates. We know how safe it is because your brain has 10 times the CB1 receptors as opiate receptors. And we know that those opiate receptors are located on parts of the brain that actually, when they get overdosed, they stop your breathing, and that's why people die. The CB1 receptors are all located on the advanced parts of our brain. And in those advanced parts of the brain, there's no harm or danger to our breathing or our life functions. So that's why no one in the 5,000-year history of cannabis use has ever overdosed and died from cannabis.
Wow. Now, you're both speaking later this month in Portland at that's the Cannabis Science Conference.
Yep. Cannabis Science Conference. Yep, we'll be there, and a couple of my nursing colleagues will be there as well. We're doing a nursing panel. We're just going to be chatting about a few things and then opening it up for questions, because as nurses, that's really what we get. Nurse Julesy, myself, Nurse Marcy, a lot of questions. And so people have specific questions. And when we get a group of folks together and one person asks and we're able to answer, it's very amazing how the conversation starts flowing and it drives more questions. And we're always happy to, for us, it's a challenge to see what kind of questions are out there, what people are dealing with, because a lot of it seems to be folks are asking the same sorts of questions. So it's great if we can really address that in a group of folks and get all these questions answered at once.
And then and your panel, are you on?
Yeah. So I'm going to be just there. You know, my function generally on a daily basis to make sure that Nurse Heather gets safely from her to her Starbucks.
Here we go.
And gets the proper Starbucks drink ordered for her, and safely gets her to the destination wherever she is. But occasionally I fill in a little bit with speaking. So I am the only lawyer that's proven the safety and efficacy of cannabis use for specific health conditions. And I don't mean to sound like a know-it-all, but I had great expert witnesses, including Nurse Heather and some fabulous, well-informed doctors who helped me prove that case. So that's why I talk about the medicinal side of it, because it's so important. All cannabis is medical cannabis. Everyone who uses cannabis uses it for a medical reason, whether they know it or not.
And he loves nurses. He was our representative for the Arizona Cannabis Nurses Association, where we did that work. And he'll also he just enjoys being around the nurses. What can I say? He's going to be moderating. He'll be moderating our panel and doing a wonderful job of that.
And then if people want to find Nature's Nurse online, where can they do that?
Yeah, so it's Nature Nurse without the S. So we always say we're not nursing nature. Nature nurses us. So Nature Nurse, naturenursehealth.com online. And we have, if you're in California, we've got products that are THC versions. We have the Synergy line, which is the THC CBD 1-to-1, and then online, we offer the hemp CBD products in transdermal patches, topical products, as well as the cocoa cannabinoids. And I did want to mention another thing about cacao, and I'm not sure, maybe Ken mentioned it, but I'm going to say it again. Cacao actually mimics anandamide, which is the endocannabinoid. Yes, so that's why you hear about chocoholics and chocolate addicts. So it in this case, when you put CBD with it, you actually get a nice synergistic effect of the CB1 receptor being stimulated, similar to how you would have it with THC or anandamide, as well as the CBD. So someone who lives in a state where they don't have access to THC, you can still get the health. It's not exactly the same, but what we're trying to do is really thoughtfully and intelligently create these products that are helping all people without borders, actually.
That is so awesome.
So you could just go to the State Bar website, Ken Sobel, S-O-B-E-L, spell it out there, check the State Bar of California website, find out that I'm an AV-rated lawyer and have no problems with the bar. So you can do that, or you can look for AskGenesisNow.com.
Thank you both so much for being here today. Everybody, we're going to be back right after this with Patrick Cox from the Tax Defense Partners.
What is dabbing? Dabbing, not to be confused with dabbin, the dance move popularized by Cam Newton that kind of looks like you're smelling your armpit real quick, is a way of consuming highly concentrated marijuana extracts, sometimes referred to as shatter, wax, butane hash oil, or honey. Dabbing gets its name from the way you press the concentrate against a hot surface. It can be very effective for patients that have chronic and severe pain that needs to be treated in high doses. Most dabs are around 90% or more THC potency. For recreational users, this amount is significantly higher than what you would normally get out of a cannabis flower. So a little dab will definitely do you.
Do you have an amazing Lemmy story for me?
An amazing one? Everything he does is amazing. The guy puts snarl in the metal. Come on.
Big heart. Love that guy. That guy was the real deal in every way.
Lemmy was just a class act.
So thank you, Lemmy.
No way I was gonna miss tonight's tribute to the Lemmeister, man.
Let's hear for Lemmy!
Scream for Lemmy!
Can you feel the energy in the room? Lemmy lives on.
God bless Lemmy, and he will live on through all of us.
To the spirit and memory of Lemmy! Long live Lemmy, my brothers and sisters.
Welcome back to the Edible Show on Z420 TV. B. LeGrand is our lovely host. I am her co-host, Patrick. And we got a second Patrick in the house today. Patrick Cox from the Tax Defense Partners. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys for having me on.
We've been wanting you to come on for a while now. Can you tell us, now what is the Tax Defense Partners, first of all?
Tax Defense Partners is a firm that specializes in, among other things, cannabis tax relief. We handle everything from audits, filing taxes for both personal and business. We prefer to represent people that don't have a tax problem. We're a tax management firm, and we're the type of firm that would like to get the client on board so they don't have to worry about things like audits and things of that nature that are plaguing the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what if they do already have that problem, though? Can you help them?
Oh, yeah. We offer two services. We'll offer consultations on audits so that you can sleep at night. There's absolutely no reason to worry about audits in the cannabis industry, so long as from day one you do what you're supposed to do. Make sure the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. Now, if for some reason you had somebody else besides us representing you and you do get audited,
right? Well,
we will resolve it for you. Whether that, there are numerous programs that we offer to individuals to resolve whatever it is. If you owe them money or you haven't filed taxes, we do it. That's what we do.
So one of the big problems that we have in the cannabis industry is the 280E, which is the federal, or maybe you can explain it. It's the difference between federal and state, and a lot of people are getting back taxed with the 280E. So can you explain that to us and how you guys help with that?
Absolutely. 280E is the horror of the cannabis industry. Okay, it's a nightmare. I hear people call me and they're terrified about 280E. What 280E is, they talk about cost of goods sold. Let's say you have a widget store, okay? There are so many things you can write off. Labor costs, pencils, paper, for owners, things of that nature, okay? In the cannabis industry, 280E prevents just about everything from being written off. Now, yes, they prevent just about everything. However, there are numerous ways in which I don't want to say loopholes because it's the law.
Right.
The IRS code, the code allows you to set up more than one entity that allows you to take advantage of normal tax breaks. So you don't have to get taxed at 100%. I mean, what's the point of going into business
Yeah.
if you're not going to make any money?
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't have to. It's interesting. The IRS code 280E is a code section that is sort of in stone. However, people don't realize that tax court is starting to evolve the industry. So if you need to have representation that knows this industry. Well, I've run into quite a few times. I had a dispensary that we currently represent, rather large dispensary. So he calls me up and he said, "You know what, Pat, my accountant, good buddy of mine. First of all, you never use a friend. You never use a family member when you're dealing with business." His best advice that he gave his friend was, you know what, it's still illegal. Don't file federal taxes, but file state. Okay. There's so much more interagency cooperation that what do you think happened? The federal government caught up to him. And now he's got 10 plus years of back taxes.
Oh my God.
You know, our biggest challenge is not to do the taxes, but to keep them in business, you know, and deal with the penalties and whatnot. The penalties are exorbitant. When you don't file your taxes, they're exorbitant.
Yeah.
Plus, if you go too many years, you're looking at, over 3 years, you're looking at felony tax evasion, and it's not necessary. Illegal or not, the government still wants their money. That's right. That's the funny part of it. You know, it's illegal. It's number one on the list with heroin, but you still need to file your taxes. We're going to take your money. So that's hopefully, we just had a recent bill introduced there's bipartisan support for changing the law. But unfortunately, there's also bipartisan support for not changing it.
Didn't Al Capone get 280E'd? Isn't that how Al Capone got caught?
Tax evasion.
Yeah, because, well, no, he filed taxes, but they 280E'd him and said, you can't write any of this off, and then jailed him, right?
He was, I don't know if it was 280E, but that's how they got
Tax
one of the
evasion.
most vicious and powerful criminals out there.
Was tax evasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In another prohibition era, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the trend, apparently.
Well, so what's and in addition to the challenges that medical collectives face in trying to file their taxes, how do collectives in Colorado file their taxes when their state's totally legal for their federal tax return?
Same exact way, okay? But it's the same thing. If you need to file your taxes, federal and state, no matter what, keep the right records, and you'll be fine. It's just like any other industry. Well, I wouldn't go that far.
That's a stretch.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch. Yeah, that's a little. But the point is that if you do it right from day one, you can sleep at night.
And tell us what some of the penalties are if you don't pay your taxes.
Exorbitant.
In case you don't know.
Yeah, for example, like this,
Exorbitant.
like he's got 10 years of back taxes, and what are the penalties? If it's
In
10
this
years.
particular case, you're probably looking between penalties and what he owes, 8-9 million. Yeah. Well, this is a dispensary that does probably twice that in business.
In a year.
His biggest, his biggest.
That's in a year, though.
Yeah.
That's still.
But he still has his costs.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
so.
it's interesting. That's a very good question. It's the obvious question. You know, okay, there's all this. You can't write stuff off, but if you have somebody who understands setting up entities, you set up 2 or 3 separate entities, like a T-shirt shop, things of that nature, and then you can take advantage of those write-offs. Doing business with a cannabis-related company. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's only, and in the end, there's only a fraction that you can't write off.
There's not a fraction, okay? You know, the reality is you're going to still pay probably somewhere around 25, depending on your record keeping, what you did, probably 25 to 50%, which is significantly better than 90.
Sure.
You know, what's the point of going into business if you can't make a profit?
That's what it's all about.
Tax defense partners, we love you guys. We use you for our own taxes.
For sure.
They're in a reasonable price range if you're not in trouble.
How do people, if they want to find you online and contact you, if you're out there and you need this kind of help, how?
Well, cannabistaxrelief.com.
Cannabistaxrelief.com.
Or you can go right to Tax Defense Partners, but we're specialists in cannabis tax relief.
Very cool.
So.
And then, are you speaking at any events coming up?
Yeah, we're blessed. We get asked quite a bit to speak at numerous events and networking events and so on and so forth. We're speaking on at the Infused on the 14th or 15th, and then I have so many speaking engagements. I mean, we go to just about every single convention. I think the one on the 21st is CCIA's convention.
Yeah.
We're speaking there.
Yeah.
We're a focused, featured rather speaker.
Cool.
So we're going to speak for about 45 minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This was a real treat.
No, thank you very much for asking me.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
When we get closer to tax season, too, we're probably back on for the tax special.
Yeah, I got some P&Ls for you.
There you go.
And then we've got some lovely Nature's Nurse dark chocolate CBD that we want you to try.
I'll come on just for that.
Well, these we want you to take with you.
Thank you.
Everybody, thanks so much for watching today. We had a great show, some great guests. Keep watching Z420.tv and watch for our new issue. It's going to have Montel Williams on the cover and a great story about Montel Williams in there. We're going to be all over the place. Yeah, so we hope we see you in Vegas or Portland or somewhere, and we'll see you next time here.
You're watching Z420 TV. We take the high road.